Hey folks, in my last video, you saw me unboxing the Retekess. Just to recap, it's a very cheap AM/FM shortwave radio picked up on Amazon for $19.99 Canadian, which is about 13-14 bucks American at this point with the exchange. And it has quite a number of impressive features, which I had a chance to look through the manual to check out, which, for the price point, you can't beat. Now, AM and FM, pretty much good reception in an urban environment. You can pick up anything you want. It has a recording function to a SD card that you insert inside. And the good news is you can also put MP3s on that from your computer and just use this as a little MP3 player. It can record directly from the radio, either AM, FM, or shortwave stations. It can record from this little microphone up here. And that's it. Now, one thing I noticed when I read through the manual, by the way, you can also access the TF card, the flash card, using the actual USB connection here. You can plug that into a computer, and this acts as a card reader as well. So you don't even have to remove it from the radio. Just plug the radio directly in through a USB to your computer, and you can load stuff onto it. It'll recognize it. Apparently, it will also recognize this microphone or maybe the speaker. I forget which, but it'll recognize it as the speaker, a USB connected speaker. So if you have the drivers on your computer, you can actually use this as a little speaker as well. This is my Tecsun, which I've had for a couple of years now, and it cost around $60, which is at least 3 to 4 times more than the Retekess. And it also has FM, AM, medium wave, and long wave, short wave. This does have a little bit better coverage of the bands, and it gives you a chance to change the bandwidth. It has an always on clock and display here for temperature. I'm not really sure what that's good for. I've never really used it for much. It has an alarm timer, you can start this up at any time. And it has a countdown sleep timer as well. So this has a few extra features. The Retekess does not have automatic on with the clock, but it does have the sleep timer. One thing I wanted to show you here, and this video is really just to compare the two as far as shortwave performance goes. I was looking through the manual here, and one of the things here at the end, which talks about troubleshooting, which is very interesting. Number 7 in bold, okay? None of them are in bold. Why the SW reception is not good. Shortwave is a delicate medium. Little things like time of day, the sunspot cycle, weather, and atmospheric issues can play the devil with reception. But once the sun goes down, the shortwave bands come alive with music, news, propaganda, and even some pirate radio stations. So the signal strength will be weak indoors than outdoors. So the best way to listen to shortwave should be extend antenna in night and outdoor. I found that quite interesting. So I essentially turned this on, and I pressed the programming button here and let it run through all the stations and programmed shortwave stations. Starts at 4750, and it counts up, and every time it finds a station, it records it into memory. Now, just a quick note about my setup here. I have this wire going out my window and passing to the backyard. You can see it's going through the window there. Okay, I have it clipped on here with a little alligator clip, which in turn, I have a little coax going into my Tecsun. Now the Tecsun has an input for an external antenna right there. You can see it says right there, FM and SW antenna. You could also just clip it onto here, that's fine. The Retekess does not have a antenna socket. So because of that, I use the clip. But because I've chained them together like this, I can test both out using the same thing. So we're gonna turn them on in a moment and try to compare the two to see what's going on with the reception between both of them. Okay, so we're gonna turn the Retekess on. Just hold down the power button here. There it goes, welcome. And remember, I already had this program, so it started off and went up, and it found 4950 is the first station that it could find. So let's go over here. I have it programmed as well. Okay, now I can turn the volume up here.
But in this
You can hear the Tecsun. And that's the reception I'm getting. But I can change the bandwidth here. It sometimes takes away the static.
And, you know, they were both straight white men. And the way they covered it was...
Okay. Now, keep in mind that I'm on like one battery tick here. So I don't know if that makes a difference, but it's working. And here's the same channel on the Retekess.
Any other paper, I think maybe ran a little squib, and no one was there.
So it sounds a little bit more confined, the bandwidth. You can't change the bandwidth on this thing. And it is automatically attenuating. So watch, if I take this thing, antenna, and I unclip it for a second, you see you're getting nothing. You see? I can extend the antenna. Sorry, trying to do this with one hand. Okay, if I grab it, pretty poor reception, right? But wow, I dig this. Much better reception. Okay, let's go to the next station. Okay, I don't know what that is, but I'm getting music. I don't want it to get a copyright hit. By the way, I picked up about 30 stations. We're going to go through all of them. So that's 6115. Let's see what's happening here on 6115. There. That's Tecsun. Hopefully it won't match to YouTube copyright.
You are listening to Worldwide Christian Radio, Nashville, Tennessee, USA.
Now I'm in Toronto, and what you just heard there was Nashville, Tennessee. So some of these stations come in pretty loud and clear. Let's jump to the next, 6160. Not very good, but there's something there. Let's go to 6160 here. I'm getting nothing here either. Can barely hear it. Okay, and we go to this one. Okay, you can hear that. It's not bad. It's not bad. I don't know who this is, but
This broadcast is a spatial broadcast. That will be a prison stain.
all right, let's go to the next one. I'm getting nothing on 6955. Now, keep in mind, this was programmed a little while ago. It took about 5 minutes to scan through all the channels. This might have been a amateur ham radio operator. There was a few here around the 7,000 mark. That's one of the main operating frequencies. So you can see there's not much there now. There's something at 7170. Let's see if we can get anything here. You can kind of hear it chopping in and out. 7170. Plugged it in. I'm barely getting anything here. Now I do have the advantage of moving up a little bit on the Tecsun. You can hear. But on this one here, I hear something. It's cutting in and out. But it sounds like it could be in single sideband mode, which is why you're hearing that. That's why it sounds a little muffled and not really easy to understand. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Yeah, see what I'm getting. Okay, this is a single sideband. That's not even plugged into this thing. Let's try that. Sounds even worse. Let's see what happens when we go to the Tecsun. It's some kind of like automatic gain control here on the front end, because it's, let's see what happens when I go to 7200 on this thing. It might not even be at 7200 exactly. Yeah. So my Tecsun's not getting much better reception here. It looks like the Retekess is set to like 1 kilohertz bandwidth. It's very narrow. Okay. And let's go back to the Retekess here. So not bad reception. I didn't even modify this thing at all yet. I mean, I was planning to open it up and mess around with it, but let's try the next one. What was it? 7270. There's nothing really on there at the moment. You can hear. Maybe there was some weak signal before. Next one. Nothing at 7275 either. No, not really. Okay, this is a very loud station.
So we did many gigs with you guys.
7490.
And for a while, I think you were working on your own, but then I recalled you hooking
Okay.
up with,
And we have, go to here.
Was it called Buddha when you were working with them?
Let's lower this.
Right.
That's 7490 on the Tecsun. And here we are on the Retekess. They're both kind of not very clear, but Retekess. It's not bad. Okay, next. Nothing there. 91, not really much. Sounds Spanish. A little bit fuzzy. Let's hear what it sounds like on the Tecsun. You know, is it much different? Not really. Let's go next one. Not much on 9350. So far, everything's been performing pretty much similarly on both. There's 93, 95. Okay, they're picking it up. Here's this one.
He speaks about teachers who come preaching a
It's a little bit more high-pitched on the Tecsun. Again, it could be down to the bandwidth that it's using. Next, 9565. Very clear Spanish radio station. 9565. Let's see. Let's go to 95. Was it here? Okay. Turn the volume up. I'll turn it back down. No problem. What's this? 9690? Nothing there. I mean, it picked something up before, but maybe weak. 9930. Not sure where that's from. 9930. So just here, if I unplug this guy, you can still hear it. And we'll do the same with this one. You can still hear it. Okay. So not some of these stations are so strong that you can pick them up even without a long wire antenna. 95, 99.55. Can't really hear much. Nothing there. This is a clock. Can you hear it? It's ticking in the background. I'm going to unplug this. A little bit noisy. And I'm going to do the same thing here. We'll go to 10,000 here. That's Tecsun unplugged. And now let's plug them in. Okay. And we'll bring this up now. Okay, so they're both able to capture that. 11,610. There's something there. If I take the clip off, yeah, it's pretty loud and clear. Something's cutting it out. Okay, this one's kind of weak. This was stronger during the day. It's weakened now at night. 14075. This is a digital mode. Some of you might recognize. It's part of the that software that I forgot the name of it exactly. It's Whisper or something. It's using some kind of a low signal to track connections across different bandwidths. There's actually a few spots on the spectrum where you have this mode, and I use it with my RTL SDR. 15770, loud and clear. Okay, and let's see here. What does that say? 15770. What happens? Why is it doing that? Enter. Okay. That's the Tecsun. Okay, we'll go back to this one. 17140. Anything? I hear nothing at all. Makes no sense. Not even static. That's weird. Did I hit the mute button or something? I don't get it. Okay, let's see. There we go. Nothing. That's the clock, I believe. There might be another clock at 20. Nope. Nothing there. I hear something faint. Well, not really. I don't know why I programmed that one. Nothing there. And that's the highest one. So 35 channels it picked up. Although There are a few that actually don't have anything on them. All right. In any case, I just wanted to show you a brief comparison of the performance of the two radios. And so far, you know, given the price of this Retekess and its purported SW, you know, performance features, even stated in the manual, that it's subject to a lot of, you know, a lot of variables that we can't always control. You know, it's not doing too badly in comparison to the Tecsun. When you hook it up to a long wire, you can extend the whip. I'm on a second floor. So yes, you're gonna get, you know, some variable reception on SW, but not surprisingly much worse than a Tecsun. Or to put it another way, the Tecsun doesn't seem to be surprisingly much better than the Retekess as far as receiving. I mean, there are some options here which I think are good, like you can change the bandwidth to improve some of the sound. It's a little higher pitched because of that. So I like my Tecsun more. And if you have the money, definitely go for a Tecsun. And honestly, I would even splurge more. This is my first radio, and I didn't know how much I'd get into the hobby when I bought it. So $60 for me was enough to spend on it. And but the next one would be, I would get something with single sideband capability and a few other special features in it. But that's going to be up in at least over $100, $150, even $200 for a more decent performing radio. And that's perhaps the next purchasing decision I'll make. But for now, if you're just getting into the hobby and you're looking at a bare bones cost here, if you want to play around with things, the Retekess is definitely not performing that much more poorly for at least like a third or a quarter of the cost. And the fact that you can record and use this as an MP3 player and also have some other things in here, you know, that's not a bad idea. I like that feature. My Tecsun doesn't allow that. What I like with the Tecsun is I can sit there, you know, manually going through all these stations like this at night and seeing if I can pick up something. I don't have a very easy time of doing that with this guy. You know, I'll turn it on and then you sit here, you know, you have to dial in each frequency. I'm locked for some reason here. Dial into each frequency either that you've programmed or you're gonna have to, you know, jump to something. Let's say we go to 4800. Sorry. It's a little bit annoying to use this. There's ways to get around it. Here, 4800. I don't see an enter key anywhere here, unless you press that. Maybe 4895. Yeah, that's the enter key. But now let's say I want to go to the next station. How do I get out of these pre-programmed things? I just want to go up by 5. See, that's going to jump to the presets. There's got to be a way to get out of that. Mode. Please insert TF. No. Yeah, I have to figure this out. Because I don't, maybe if the memo. Nope, that's just a 5. Menu. Yeah, anyway, I got to work on it. But I just want to be able to flip back and forth between channels instead of, you know, like choose 4850. And then go to 4855, 4860, 4865, just up by 1. I mean, I can hold it down and it just scans. So if it doesn't pick up a station, it's just going to go right through it. So I'm relying on the fact that this radio is going to pick something up and will detect it properly. Otherwise, I can't just randomly go into stations and go up by 1 frequency at a time, which I can do with my Tecsun. Because I can just play around with this knob, rotary knob, and just go around and scan myself. So, but otherwise, like I said, not a bad radio given the cost and performance. In my next video on this radio, what I might end up doing is open this thing up and see if I can, some people have recommended covering the insides with various foils in order to try to reduce the noise. But even without doing any modifications at all, it seems to be working fairly decently given the cost and compared to a priced radio that's much more expensive. So there you have it. Hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Bye for now.